السلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الأطهرين سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم اللعونين. أما بعد، قال المعصوم عليه السلام: السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة وموضع الرسالة ومختلف الملائكة ومهبة الوحي ومعدن الرحمة وخزان العلم ومنتهى العلم وأصول الكرم وقادة الأمم وأولياء النعم. For the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziya, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhumin, of the graves of the Shahada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety and the followers of Ahlulbayt, for the safety of the followers of Ahlulbayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam, Arwahun al-Fida. Please recite your loudest salawat. All praise due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We continue our discussions on Ziyarat Jami'ah Kabeerah of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam, where the Imam is introducing Ahlulbayt, through their characteristics. This Ziyarah, from the aspect of sanad, from the aspect of chain of narration, is considered to be 100% correct. There is no doubt within the authenticity of the ziyarah itself, and so it gives us a great insight into the maqam of Ahlul Bayt, the position that Ahlul Bayt hold within this physical realm as well as beyond the physical realm. And thus far we have highlighted a number of characteristics that Imam al-Hadi mentions within the ziyarah, and today I want to look at two more. And that is that Imam addresses Ahlul Bayt and says, "O Ahlul Bayt, you are qadat al-umam wa awliya al-na'am," that you are the leaders of the ummah, you are the qa'ids of the ummah, you are the leaders of the nation, wa awliya al-na'am, and you are the walis of the blessings of God. You are those individuals that are the wali, the masters of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, as always, as we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 days, is that we will break down both words, analyze both words, and then seek to draw the conclusion from them as to what it is that the Imam is actually saying about the maqam of Ahlul Bayt. The first thing is that Imam is saying that you are the leaders of this ummah. The word ummah itself, when we look at it, it refers to a group, a movement of individuals that have one common ideology that unifies them all, and they all rally behind a leader. And not every group of people is an ummah. There has to be these defining characteristics: a leader, a common ideology, a movement of these individuals, not just any old group coming together with no purpose, with no aim, with no forward plan. That group doesn't become an ummah. An ummah is rather a group of individuals, a group of people that are behind a common leader, have a common ideology and a way forward, and have an idea of where they are going. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to it in the Holy Quran. He says, لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولٍ, and to every nation we sent a prophet. as a guide, as that spearhead for that movement of those individuals. Again, within the Holy Quran, it says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. Here he's highlighting what that movement is. He's highlighting what the purpose of that is. What is that common ideology that the Anbiya bring? He says, and to every nation we sent a prophet. And the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not necessarily large prophets like Nabi Musa, Nabi Nuh. By large, I mean not in size, but rather in name and reputation. We have Anbiya, we have prophets that went towards families. So from amongst a family, there would be a prophet. Or then to a city, there would be a prophet. There's 124,000 prophets. So to some, it would be a family. He would go as a prophet to a family, or he would go as a prophet to a city, or then a prophet to a nation, a whole tribe, or a prophet to a country. And like this 124,000 Anbiya, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam addresses Abdullah ibn Umar, and when Abdullah ibn Umar comes to the Imam, and Imam asks him for help, leaving Medina, and Abdullah ibn Umar says, lift up your shirt so I can kiss that place where the Holy Prophet of Islam would kiss. And then Imam says, well, will you come and help us? And he says, no, I can't. And Imam there says to him that your example is like that of the people of Bani Israel, who would kill 40 prophets before the time of Fajr. It gives the extent to how many prophets, even to one nation, would come, even to one city. Within the Holy Quran, within Surah Yasin, وَضَرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرِيَّةِ إِذْ جَاءَهَا الْمُرْسَلُونَ, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the people of Antioch and the 3 prophets that go to one city, the city of Antioch. 3 prophets go to them, and then the whole subsequent story of how they're arrested and placed into prison, and Habib and Najjar and stuff. We've spoken about this previously, we don't need to go into it. But the point being that there are prophets that were sent to spearhead, to lead families, to lead nations, to lead cities, to lead tribes. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولٍ. And to every nation we sent a prophet. And what was the ideology? What was the thing that prophet, every single prophet of God, looks to promote? And i'budullah, the first is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wajtanibu at-taghut, and to shun the powers of evil, to move away from those individuals that are evil. And the best of all these various nations, of all these ummah that have come, of all these prophets that have guided nations, is the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Our ummah that unites under the banner of the Holy Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. Says, you are indeed the best of the ummahs, the best of those communities that has ever been brought forth for the good of mankind. And then he gives the guiding principles for this ummah. You enjoin what is right, you forbid the doing of what is wrong, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you believe in God. So this ummah is the best of those nations, of all the Anbiya that came. And again, within the Holy Quran, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. Here now, he highlights what we are. We are the nation, and you have been made the nation of the middle path. There is no extreme on either side. And thus, we willed you to be a community of the middle way, he says. Surah Baqarah. So that with your lives you might bear witness to the truth before all mankind, and that the apostle might bear witness to it before you. So the best of all the ummahs is this, the Muhammadan ummah, the ummah of the Holy Prophet of Islam. and it possesses all the virtues of the previous ummahs, the previous nations that came, the previous anbiya that came. The best of their virtues have been sent down upon this ummah, and it is to possess all of those virtues. The same way that Rasulullah possesses all the virtues of the previous anbiya. All of their virtues are found within the Zat, within the personality of Rasulullah. All of their characteristics, but heightened beyond measure, beyond comprehension. That now Rasulullah is illa lagha'i. He possesses all of those characteristics, but to a higher level. And so his ummah too possesses characteristics of the previous ummahs, but to a higher level. They must do to a higher level, because their guide, their hadi, is someone that is at a higher level. And so whoever is the leader of the Muslim ummah, the qa'id of the Muslim ummah, is also the leader and the qa'id of the previous ummahs as well. Rasulullah is the leader of all the previous anbiya. Thus he is the leader of all the previous ummahs as well. All those previous ummahs of Nabi Isa, Nabi Nuh, Nabi Musa, Nabi Adam, Nabi Ibrahim, all of them fall under the leadership of Rasulullah, because as Rasulullah came, all those previous nations were now turned towards their ideas, the prophets. All of it was paled to insignificance in front of the majesty and the grandeur of Rasulullah. So the best of all those ummahs is ours, is the one of Rasulullah. And those that inherit from Rasulullah, they become the best after Rasulullah. Ya Rasulullah is illa al-gha'i. Every single prophet that is created was created for the sake of Rasulullah. Rasulullah is the first nur, that first primordial light that shone forward. And so then every single Nabi that came from the light of the Holy Prophet, and so the Holy Prophet became greater than all of them. And so those that are the inheritors of the Holy Prophet, those that are the awsiya of the Holy Prophet, those that are the successors of the Holy Prophet, as appointed by the Holy Prophet, then become greater than all the previous prophets and all the previous nations. This is why we address Ahlulbayt within it as Qadatul Umam, that you Ahlulbayt, you are those leaders of the ummah, not just this ummah, but the previous ummahs. Every single nation that has ever lived, every single nation that has ever come forward, every single prophet that has ever brought forward a sharia from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you Ahlul Bayt are the leaders of all of them. You Ahlul Bayt are greater than all of them. And this is why that when the Qa'im of Ali Muhammad Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajuhu Sharif comes and he makes his reappearance, Imam al-Sadiq says that the Qa'im with his back towards the Kaaba will begin to address all of mankind. He will say, Ya ma'ashir al-khala'iq, O all of existence, man arada an yanzura ila Adam wa Sheikh, falyanzur ilayya faha ana dha Adam wa Sheikh. Those of you that want to see Adam and Sheikh, look towards me, because I am Adam and I am Sheikh. Man arada an yanzura ila Musa wa Yusha. Those that want to see Nabi Musa and Yusha, look towards me, because I am Musa and I am Yusha. Man arada an yanzura ila Nuh wa waladih Sam. The one that wants to see Noah and his son Sam, look towards me, because I am Noah and I am Sam. Man arada an yanzura ila Ibrahim wa Ismail. Those of you that wish to see Ibrahim and Ismail, look towards towards me because I am Ibrahim and I am Ismail. Man arada an yanzura ila Isa wa Shama'un. Those of you that wish to see Isa and Shama'un, look towards me because I am Isa and I am Shama'un. Man arada an yanzura ila Muhammadin wa Ali. Those of you that want to see Rasulullah and Amirul Mu'mineen, look towards me because I am Muhammad and I am Ali. Man arada an yanzura ila Hasani wal Hussein. Those of you that want to see Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein, look towards me because I am Imam al-Hasan and I am Imam al-Hussein. Man arada an yanzura ila a'immati min wuld al-Hussein. Those of you that want to see the Imams from the lineage of Hussein, look towards me. Faha anadha al-a'imma, because I am every single one of those Imams. This is the Imam, Qadat al-Umam, the leader of every nation, the Imam of our time, the Qa'im of our time. He is the culmination of every single one of those prophets, every single one of those nations, every single one of those messages. They manifest within him. And the narration continues that then the Imam will call forward the nation of Adam and Sheikh and say to them, come forward, let me recite for you the books of Adam and Sheikh. And he will recite for them their holy books. And they will walk away saying that we have never heard this book in its true interpretation as it was taught to us today. And then he calls forward the nation of Nabi Nuh and the nation of Nabi Musa and the nation of Nabi Isa, until then he calls forward the Muslim nation and he begins to recite the Quran for them, and they walk away saying that we have to this day not heard a truer interpretation of the verses of the Quran as we have heard from him today. They are Qadat al-Umam. They're those that lead not just this ummah, but all the previous nations. And that's only one side of it. If you take the word ummah to only refer to humans, if you understand it only to refer to humans, then that is one angle. But the word ummah also refers to those outside of the human race. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا طَائِرٍ يَطِيرُ بِجَنَاحَيْهِ إِلَّا أُمَمٌ أَمْثَالُكُمْ. He says that although there is no beast that walks on the earth and no bird that flies on its two wings, except that they are an ummah like yourselves. The birds, the plants, the trees, each and every single one of them is an ummah. A seed that sprouts has a purpose. It has an ideology. It has a forward plan to sprout, to grow, to turn into a tree, to turn into a plant. And that as a whole they are an ummah. Every animal upon the earth has a purpose, has an ideology, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to them. He says every single one of these has been programmed with a system for its own growth, for its own protection. And so they themselves form an ummah. Again in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He refers to this idea. He says, our sustainer is He who gives unto everything that exists its true nature and form, and thereupon guides it towards its fulfillment. Talking about everything within existence, from the stones to the plants to the animals to human beings. Every single shay, every single thing that is in existence has been given a guide towards its fulfillment. And Ahlulbayt are Qadatul Umam. When they are the leaders of the nations, it does not just mean the human race, but rather they have authority over that which exists within nature and within the animal kingdom. When you look at the life of Imam al-Askari, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, that when Imam al-Askari is taken and he's placed in the prison, and they say that that they began to they changed the Imam a number of times from various prisons, and towards the end they placed him with an individual and said, you have free reign, torture the Imam as much as you want. And so what he did, he sought out within Samarra two of the most cursed individuals that he knew, the most hard-hearted individuals, and he left them with the Imam. When they came, the Khalifa's guards came to check on this individual. They said, why is it that you find Hassan Askari is still relaxing, he's still fine, there's nothing wrong with him. We told you to punish him. He goes, what do you want me to do? That whoever I place with him, he has such an effect upon them that they themselves change. He says, I found two of the most wretched individuals in all of Samarra. He says that when I placed them with him, instead of them punishing him, they too began to worship alongside him. Says, call them, brought them forward, says, what is it with you that we told you to go and punish him? They said that when we walked inside, how can we punish a man that his days are spent praying, his days are spent fasting, his nights are spent praying, his nights are spent in ibadat. The moment we walked in, he looked towards us, and within us a change occurred that we could no longer go towards that haram lifestyle that we had lived, but rather we had gone towards this Imam, we had gone towards ubudiyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qadatul umam. They are the leaders of this nation, that even one look towards them, even one look towards a wretched, evil individual, with that intention shall change that individual for the better. We too have an Imam. We address him, Yabna Zahra. We are sinners as well. Will you not look towards us just once? Change our fates, change our destinies. Look towards us with those divine eyes and reform our inner self. If we call out to our Imam, if we address our Imam, if we begin to create that relationship with the Imam, hoping that the Imam just looks at us, changes us, causes that revolution within us. After they could not change the Imam under these two individuals, they said they handed him over to another man, who, when he could not do anything, he took the Imam and he threw him to the wolves and the lions. Placed him in a cage where there were wolves and lions, and they go that we went on a high place to look in, to see what these wolves and these lions would do to Hassan Askari. Says, when we looked inside, he was in sajda, and all around him the animals had fallen into submission. Not a single one of them approached him. This is what it means, Qadat al-Umam, that they are the guides of the nations, that not just human beings, but even the animal kingdom, the plants, the trees, everything is subservient to them. Everything falls under their command. وَأَوْلِيَاءُ النَّعَمِ. The next trait that Imam al-Hadi highlights for Ahlulbayt, he says that you are the authority over the blessings of Allah. You have authority over them. What are the blessings? What are the ni'mah that Allah has given us? The ni'mah of eyes, the ni'mah of ears, the ni'mah of a nose, the ni'mah of a tongue, the ni'mah of being able to feel, the ni'mah of hair, the ni'mah of being able to have a house to stay in, the ni'mah of children, the ni'mah of clothing, the ni'mah of the environment that surrounds us, the ni'mah of rain, the ni'mah of the sun, the ni'mah of the solar system and the ozone layer and the clouds and everything around us, the ni'mah of being able to breathe independently. All of these things that we have, all of these things that we take for granted, every moment is a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every single thing that we have, the ability to walk, the ability to talk, the ability to hear, to see, to be able to taste. It is all a ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the authority over all of those ni'mah, over all of those blessings is Ahlulbayt. They are the authority over all of those blessings. In Dua Kumail, we recite وَبِنُورِ وَجْهِكَ الَّذِي أَضَاءَ لَهُ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ. And we call out to you by the nur of your face that illuminates all things. Oh Allah, we beseech you through your name, by the nur of your face that illuminates everything within existence. When it says to illuminate, it means that it allows it to exist. The nur of Allah illuminating something is that that thing has now come into existence, that it has now come into the consciousness, it has now come into the physical realm, that now it can be seen, it now exists. And Ahlulbayt say, Nahnu wajhullah, that we are the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the nur of Ahlulbayt that allows things to exist. Awliya'un na'am, they are the authority over the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is similar to what Amirul Mu'mineen writes in his letter to Muawiyah in Nahj al-Balagha. He writes here, he says, Muawiyah, Allah created us. Then because of us, He created mankind. First, He created us. And then after, because of us, He created mankind. It's the same thing that we recite in Hadith Kisa, that I would not have created these high skies, these rotating planets, this sun, this moon, قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيا ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا. I would not have created all of this high sky, these rotating planets, this sun, this moon, this vast earth, these flowing rivers, these ships that sail upon these seas, except for these 5 that sit under the cloak. Except out of love of these 5 that sit under this cloak. They are awliya'un na'am. Whenever you see a blessing within this world, any sort of blessing that manifests itself, the authority lies with Ahlulbayt for that blessing. No matter what that blessing is, be it the blessing of parents, be it the blessing of children, be it the blessing of just having stability within our lives, the authority over that blessing is Ahlulbayt. But at times, we don't look at things as being blessings. We don't look at certain parts of our life and say, oh, this is a blessing from Allah. Or if we view it as a blessing, we try and take all of the credit for ourselves. So, everything that, this, I achieved this because of my education or because of my hard work. But yet not a single breath that I take is of my own volition. It is only that Allah has allowed me to take that breath. It is only that Allah has allowed me to be part of something. Now we have it within the du'as, and I've mentioned this point here before, that at times we think that we have chosen not to attend the Husayniyah, or not to attend dua, or not to pray namaz, because we have chosen not to do it. But actually, in reality, it's not as simple as we have chosen not to do it. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes blessings from us. the ability to recite Salatul Layl, the ability to recite du'as, the ability to wake up at the time of Sahar, the ability to be awake at the time of Sahar and actually do ibadat. Many are awake at the time of Sahar, but whether or not we partake in ibadat is a different matter. That is a blessing from Allah, whether He chooses to bestow it upon us, or maybe previously we were able to do it, but now we don't find the time in our lives. Maybe I become too tired. Maybe I just think, oh, I have work tomorrow, I need to sleep, and so I only wake up 5 minutes before the time of suhoor to eat, to pray, to sleep again. And so I'm deprived of it. But yet in Dua Abu Hamza Thumali that Imam al-Sajjad has recommended to be recited at the time of Sahar in this month, we say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, says, my Lord, I don't know what it is. Every time I feel that my inner self is becoming more inclined towards you, I feel that I'm becoming a better person. Or whenever I find that my gatherings are becoming the gatherings of the tawabin, of those that ask for forgiveness from you, those that are conscious of you. Or ألقيت علي نعاسا إذا أنا صليت, or whenever I make the intention to stand in front of you in the middle of the night and pray to you, to recite Salatul Layl, ألقيت علي نعاسا إذا أنا صليت, you cast sleep upon me. Whenever I feel my inner self becoming more inclined towards you, you bring something in my way and I fall again. Whenever I find that my gatherings are becoming the gatherings of the tawabin, something happens and I'm removed from those people. Sayyidi la'allaka an babika tarattani wa an khidmatika nahaytani, says, my Lord, let it not be the case that you have removed me from your service. Let it not be the case that you have removed me from your door. And you have removed me from your servitude. And then Imam lists 10 reasons. Maybe it is because you did not find me fond of the gathering of the scholars, thus you have let me go. Or maybe it is because you found me in the gathering of the wrongdoers, thus you have left me to them. Or maybe it is because you did not want to hear my voice, my dua, thus you deprived me of the ability to recite to you. Or maybe it is because you found me not thanking you for those blessings that you have bestowed upon me, thus you deprived me of them. When I had the ability to recite Salatul Layl, I had the strength, I had the youth, I had the vigor to be able to recite Salatul Layl. I used to recite it, but I never thanked Him for it. So then He began to slowly take it away from me. We don't view ibadat as blessing. We don't view ibadat as being something that is for us to raise ourselves closer to Allah. We view it as a burden. We view the holy month of Ramadan as a burden. We have this ominous feeling as the holy month approaches. Rajab comes and the tension starts building. And then Sha'ban, and then the 15th of Sha'ban, and then we have to do the one fast on the day of the 15th, and that's starting to get us a bit worried. And then the night of the holy month comes, and then everyone's trying to fight how much we can delay it. And then on the other side, we're fighting how quickly we can bring it. No, it must be Eid today, because I heard someone say that it was. No one wants to actually benefit from this holy month. Like going to the depth of this holy month. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, when He's speaking about fasting, He says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That we have prescribed fasting to you as we prescribed it to the nations before you, so that you may become conscious of Allah, that you may gain taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Ayatollah Muhsin Kara'ati, when he goes through the tafsir of this ayah, he says the reason why fasting brings taqwa is because the process of fasting itself captures hold of two main vices in the human soul. It allows an individual to control two of the main vices. The first is the one of desire, and the second is the one of anger. Or so it should be. You know, the one of desire and the one of anger. The one of desire, that desire to eat, or that desire to look towards a member of the opposite gender, or that desire that I have within my physical self, I control it during the day. And the other one's a little bit harder, anger. You know, a lot of people become more angry when they're hungry. It's because of the dependency on food. You know, when a person becomes dependent upon food, you know, and one of the signs of the coming of the Imam is that there will come a time in Akhir al-Zaman when the people وَبُطُونُهُمْ آلِهَتُهُمْ, their stomachs will become their gods. Everything that they do will be for their stomach. When Amir al-Mu'mineen speaks about his companion, he says that I had a brother. Some say he may be speaking about Abu Dhar or Salman, or maybe Uthman ibn Maz'un, one of his close friends. Says that I had a brother that was dear to me and was honored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he begins to list the characteristics of that individual, that Amirul Mu'mineen himself is calling him his brother. And the first thing that Amirul Mu'mineen says, or one of the first things he says خَارَجَ مِن سُلْطَانِ بَطْنِهِ, he had removed himself from the sovereignty, from the kingship, from the servitude to his stomach. He was no longer run by his stomach. He was no longer run by the desire to eat, the desire. You see how people's personalities change when they're hungry. They become grumpy. They become annoyed. They become irrational because they are ruled by their stomach. Everything that I do, every job that I chase, it is what? So that I can be able to go and eat. I can be able to put food on my table. And it becomes the purpose of the life of certain individuals. You know, and we look at it as humbleness. We say, you know, why are you working? Oh, you know what? I don't want anything else from this dunya. I'm just working to be able to put food on my table. Yeah, people say this. And if you remember last Ramadan's lecture series, we looked at this point about ambition, where Amirul Mu'mineen says, قَدْرُ الرَّجُلٍ عَلَىٰ قَدْرِ حِمَّتِهِ, that the worth of a man is known by his ambition. That what is it that he gets up for in every day? What is it that he desires to do? What is his aim in life? What is his ambition in life? What does he plan to do with his life? He says the worth of a man is known by that ambition that he has. And then he says, and if someone, his life is simply to place food on his table, says the worth of that man is equivalent to what comes out of his backside having eaten that food. We think of it as a sign of humbleness. That I do this for what? To put food on my table. Amirul Mu'mineen says that is not an acceptable ambition. Says the Shia of Ali Muhammad are those that have those highest of ambitions. These are those lessons taught to us by Ahlulbayt. We have a duty to them because they are awliya an-na'am. They are the authority over the blessings, and the greatest blessing that we have been given is the one of the love of Ahlulbayt. They are the greatest ni'mah. They are the greatest amana given to us. Assalamu alayki ya ameen Allahi fi khalqih. When we recite Ziyarat Ameen Allah, the first thing that we say to Amir al-Mu'mineen, that you are the amana of Allah upon the earth. What is it that we have done for them? What is it that we have we changed ourselves? Have we developed ourselves such that the Imam would be proud of us? There are questions that we need to ask ourselves. My spiritual journey towards it. Because Ahlulbayt gave everything for us. Ahlulbayt gave their very lives for us. Such sacrifices they gave that the mind cannot begin to fathom the height of it. That even the 4-year-old daughter of Abu Abdullah becomes the victim. That the amount of dhulm that befalls the daughter of Abi Abdullah, that at the age of 4, she comes to that prison of Yazid, and then that night when she sees her father in that dream, at the age of 4, so much dhulm has befallen this child, that when she finally sees her father in her dream, and she begins crying, they say, bring the head of her father towards her to stop her from crying. When she sees the head of Abu Abdullah, she begins to address it. Abata man alladhi aytamani ala sighri sinni. Father, tell me who orphaned me at such a young age. Abata man alladhi qata'a waridayk. Father, tell me who cut the veins of your neck. Father, tell me who covered your face in your blood. Abata laytani kuntu amya wa lam ara ra'saka hakadha. Father, how I wish that today I was blind, that I would not have seen your head in this state. They say she lied down, she placed her lips on the lips of her father. She began speaking and addressing her father, telling her father of the problems that befell them. Father, whenever we would cry for you, they would slap us. But Father, no one was slapped as much as our aunt Zainab. Every time they would wish to slap us, Zainab would stand in front and say, do not slap the children of Abi Abdullah. Slap Zainab instead. The child telling her father the problems. They say a short while later a voice was heard from the head. Ilayya, ilayya, fa'ana laka bil intidhar. Come to me, for I am waiting for you. The child goes quiet. Sajjad walks towards his sister. He finds the girl on one side, the head of Abu Abdullah on the other. He cries out, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa saya'alamu alladhina dhalamu ayyu munqalibin yanqalibun. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadhirin, his true awaiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.